welcome to Tarmac. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matthew, and today we're testing out the new Hyundai i30 N.
We're talking N power, which is actually quite relevant because I think the guy behind it is from N power. So come along, let's have a watch of this and see how we get on. So Hyundai's normal hatchback, it's a family sedate car, but when you add this N badge, things become a little bit more frantic. Looking around, some beautiful accents as far as the redness goes, giving it a little bit more anger. Trademark Hyundai grille, but you know, on the whole it just looks like a regular-ish hatchback. Hatchback sizing.
So on the back here we've got all these new sporty features: the dual exhaust, the fake air vent, this rear diffuser, that triangular light up there hidden in the spoiler. Not many people spot that actually. And
for the braking?
Yep, for the braking. It's a big triangle to alert you that the i30N is now stopping. And this slightly shorter boot lid, which reveals this boot and this rear sway bar.
Under the bonnet, 202 kilowatts, 353 newton meters, and actually that rises to 378 in overboost. It's got a registered 0 to 100 time of 6.1 seconds and a top speed of 250 that I don't think we'll be able to show you today. So looking around, very noticeably Hyundai interior. We've got soft rubber up the top. This is hard plastics. Infotainment screen, as you'd expect, very easy accessible, but a few differences. This N button here, which is where all the fun is at, and this thing here, what pray tell? What magic is this? It's a manual 6-speed gearbox that will rev match and speed shift. It's just fabulous. I think we're pretty sure it's an N badged i30, but just to be sure, let's count the N badges.
Alright, so we've got 1 and 2 on the carpets there. We've got another 2 on the seat backs here. We've got 1 on the gear knob there. 1 on the bottom of the steering wheel there. And then if you come around the back with me.
Oh, this sort of flag is sort of N as well.
Then we've got the big N badge here. Alright. Then we've got 4 N badges. 2 on either side, which is on the plastic there and on the brake. And obviously 2 on the other side there. And then we've got the running plate on the interior. N badge again. The first N badge that you see when you approach the car. There's 12 N badges on the car. And not to forget lucky number 13, the N badge on the engine cover.
There's actually 2 on the dashboard as well. Going into N mode, you can customize everything from the engine, rev matching, which you wanted Sport Plus because it just makes things, your LSD, and also your exhaust note, which just stay in sport mode, Sport Plus. Moving forwards, you've got performance timer, which we'll show you in a second. G-force, obviously there's been some movement around. You've got the turbo, torque, and obviously a little bit of power. Yeah, we've peaked a couple of times. So Matthew, you've been pestering me about getting this car forever, and actually I'm quite pleased you have. What are your thoughts?
When I first heard about this car, I was like, okay, you know, Hyundai has made 1 or 2 interesting cars in the past, the Tiburon and the Coupe and the Veloster Turbo to some extent. but this, their first go at actually making a hot hatch, I really wanted to know whether, you know, it could actually be a hot hatch and have a Hyundai badge on the front. And I'm actually really pleased with it, because a hot hatch, even though this cabin is a little bit, is quite dreary actually, a hot hatch is supposed to be about the drive and about the way the car feels, and in that sense this Hyundai does everything right, frankly.
Well, I mean, they're not exactly strangers to performance cars. I mean, if you look at the rally car that Hayden Patton's driving, there's certainly, you know, they're, like I said, they're no strangers to you putting your foot down. And putting your foot down is something that you really want to do in this car. It really does grip well, and does a nice little back shift, a little bit backfire when you want to, or when you want to.
I mean, that exhaust is sensational. It pops and it crackles and it shouts and it screams and it does everything. It makes a whole lot of noise, and there's only a 2-liter turbo engine on the front, but the noise it makes, I mean, every time Dave is frankly reliving his teens here with all this shifting and all that noise from this hot hatch, and it certainly is drawing glances from people walking by.
Yeah, I think we are having to talk a little bit louder. There is quite a lot of road noise. You'd get that since we've only got slithers of rubber on 19-inch feet, but there is quite a lot of feedback from the road. You can live with it, put it that way.
I think that's so far the one, almost a letdown that I feel with this car is the cabin, because everything else is tuned and tweaked for this performance Hyundai, but the cabin is almost identical to the i30. I mean, everywhere you touch there's scratchy hard plastics, and there's, apart from the 2 splashes of color on the steering wheel, the drive mode and the N mode badge, there really is nothing to suggest that this is, and apart from that manual gear shifter, which I love, by the way. Very golf ball shaped. I wonder where they got that that inspiration from. But anyway,
You can't drive a manual, you're too young.
it's supposed to be the car of the young people. Oh well, not anymore, since they are extinct, which I feel responsible for, my generation.
You bastard.
Hey, you should be grateful to me for pestering you about testing this car out.
Yeah, I should, and I actually am. Drive-wise, it's just a fun car to drive. There's, I mean, I'll go about the manual gearbox in a second, which is really tight. It's just got a really nice poise to the way it handles the corners, and it's comfortable. It's possibly lacking a little bit of support around the seats when you're really throwing it around, but on the whole, just a really well balanced, nicely poised front wheel drive. It does offer a little bit of torque steer, and I don't really mind that. This is a car you sort of want to wrestle with a little bit, and that's it. I mean, it will go into sedate mode, so you can drive it nice and naturally around the shopping malls and stuff, but you do want to wrestle with it. You do want a little bit of feedback from the road. You want that drivability about it, and dropping down gears, you can just feel it wanting to pull you around those corners. I like it. See, the gear changing is just really succinct, and the gearbox just feels so tight and so lovely.
And it's got a these creature comforts, and even though the dashboard is unimaginative, it's not about that. When you're driving the car, you forget that, oh, you know, if I touch here, there's some scratchy plastics, or I don't know, the screen is a bit small, but which is not actually, but I couldn't think of anything else. See, that's how intoxicating the performance has been. That, you know, you just forget about everything else. It's just about the drive.
So there you have it. Hyundai's new family-sized sporty vehicle. It's a hatchback, it's the M-Power, it's their foray into super sports. And what do you think of it?
Apart from this unimaginative interior, it's an excellent driver's car. It grips well, accelerates well, and the sound is just amazing. Thanks for watching.
Make sure you subscribe. We've got so much more coming up this year. Till next time.
See ya.